NFL schedule got released, and the Jacksonville Jaguars going to do some West Coast traveling this year, but they got a game in week 5 that I think is huge. We'll talk about that and more here on Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
That's right. It is your team every day here on Locked On Jaguars. We thank you for making us your first listen. I'm Tony Wiggins, the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast that you can find wherever you get your podcasts. Just make sure you check in each and every day, whether you watch or listen, so you know you won't miss an episode of the show. All right, I'm going to tell you guys, first of all, also thank you to the everydayers for joining us. And if it's your first time, I got to give you a reason to come back. So here you go. Here's where we're going to end up. Third final segment. I want to know where y'all going. I put out a little bit of a poll, if you will. It's kind of an unofficial poll to find out where everybody's traveling. I know where I'm going. I got a personal reason, but I'm going to Houston. I know that for a fact. Maybe I'll push some other games around it. I'm wondering if Glendale, Arizona is going to be that spot because I want to go out and visit Scottsdale and Paradise Valley. So we'll discuss that. Week 5 Monday night matchup, Monday night football matchup is big, has huge ramifications. I don't want to look ahead beyond the first 4 weeks, but that's the one game from a national perspective, obviously, where the Jaguars can at least make a little noise and get a few of the haters off of their back. But you know the names. Let's play the games is where we're going to start. It's really funny to me that folks want to see the order of the games before they start figuring out how many games they think a team's going to win. Now, FanDuel for a while has had the over-under for Jacksonville at 7.5 games. And I think they're going to go over 7.5 games. But there are some people that had to wait until they saw the order of the games to figure out the ebbs and the flows. I get it. If it's a Thursday night, if it's a short week of practice, this, that, and the third for some teams. But some people are just superstitious like that because they feel like, I know folks that believe if a game is being played, their team won't play well if they're not home watching it in their favorite recliner. That's right. And if they get their wing order incorrect, if you bring them ranch instead of blue cheese and they get upset about it and their team loses, it's because they brought the wrong dipping sauce for those wings. I get it. I know how it works. Fandom is something else, man. And y'all want to see it. You want to see the schedule before you start figuring things out. I get it. Don't make no sense, but I still understand exactly where you're coming from. The other thing is you just want to kind of get a feeling for how it's going to look, and you start trying to figure it out and dictate it a little bit. So we're going to go through a few of these games. I'm going to go through the first 4 games in the first segment, and then we'll talk about week 5 matchup in the first half of segment 2. Get the rest of the games out and even give you a little bit of a preliminary. I'm not going to give you a record, but I'm going to tell you an area where I think the Jaguars have a really good shot at landing, a 2 or 3 game area where I think they have landed. Then I'll find out. We're going to have some fun and find out your traveling and where you're going to go. But first, let's just go ahead and get to the top of the schedule. The Jaguars open up against the Carolina Panthers, a very significant game. If you listen to any of my podcasts, they're at home against Carolina. We know the 3 preseason games. We ain't going to go through that. But I asked the question, if there's any question about Liam Cohen, it's just that he only did this for 1 year, and he's getting a lot of credit for Baker Mayfield. But really, the person that gets the credit for turning Baker Mayfield around, Cohen may have had a little bit to do with it. Maybe. I don't know if he did or not. Maybe the coaches in Los Angeles when Baker was there as a backup for a little bit of the season, maybe they worked on it, and maybe what Dave Canales actually did in Tampa was because of something that got started in L.A. But Dave Canales has got a job basically because of how well he did at offensive coordinator for Tampa. And you can argue that Liam Cohen got a job because of the same thing. So they share that in common. And they're both going to be now coaching guys that were taken number 1 overall. That's very interesting between Trevor Lawrence and Bryce Young. Another part of it is if you go back to the 2022 draft when Trayvon Walker was taken number 1 overall, there were some people here that wanted Icky, the offensive tackle for Carolina, to be that pick. So they may have a chance where they'll be matched up one-on-one. So that'll be a little bit of fun to watch. Week 2, It's time to go to Cincinnati and visit Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and the train wreck of an organization, in my opinion, that is the Bengals, because of the way they handle their players. But the ones that they do have can really, really play. So it'll be a good test for the Jaguars defense early in the season, a good test for Travis Hunter if he gets matched up with either one of those receivers, Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. Week 3 is the culmination of the question that I asked Travis about if Travis Hunter, the wide receiver, is guarding Travis Hunter, the corner. I really was trying to get him to tell me which player, Travis the wideout or Travis the corner, is better. And I was trying to do that because of this matchup. I thought about this. I had this in mind. When you play Houston, you got Nico Collins when you're guarding him. And then if you're not going to take a blow, when you come out to play wide receiver, Derek Stingley is going to be guarding you. And that might not be true all of the time because of the presence of Brian Thomas Jr., but it'll be true enough that we'll get a chance to see how the Jaguars manage this when you're dealing with great players. And then they might be trying to work in tandem. Hey, be physical with him. This is what people do now. Be physical with him. Stingley, make him work for everything. So when he gets over here, he can't stay with Nico. Nico in the running game, be physical with him. You're 6'5", 230. Do what you got to do and fake the funk and then make him bite on something and try to get deep on him. We're going to run him ragged so he can't play well against everybody on both sides of the ball. This is the first time, this is the first test, in my opinion, to see how the Jaguars manage that against two great players that Travis may be lined up with and against in that game. The 49ers on the road, it's a West Coast swing. They're always prepared. They're always they're going to get after you if you're a quarterback. And the other thing is they scheme you up on offense. But I think the Jaguars can be 4-0. And I know that's optimistic. At the very least, I think they could be 3-1. All right? Because they got the Houston game at home. If they're able to go up there and beat Cincinnati, and mind you, no game is easy. And you can't look at a schedule and ever think that there's an easy game on the schedule because people thought Washington was going to be easy. The team that they played, Cincinnati, they played New England early in the year and got beat. They missed the playoffs by one game, a half a game. They could have won that game. They would have been in the playoffs. So all of these games matter, but I am going to look ahead right now to week 5 because it's Monday Night Football. And though I don't seek outside validation, I do want people to shut up sometimes when they talk about Jacksonville, and the best way to make them shut up is to beat the team that they think is almost unbeatable, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll discuss that in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars. Today's show is brought to you and sponsored by our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA playoffs is something else, man. Teams getting beat you didn't even think was going to get beat. It's in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a time to get in on the action better than right now for the NBA. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, same-game parlays, fans have way more than ever, a lot more reasons and a lot more information to make them smart, and they can win big because of it. I'm telling you, you better put your money on Ant-Man. Anthony Edwards is the real deal. And everybody's looking forward to him getting to the finals and going up against SGA one-on-one. New to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, busting it down here on Locked On Jaguars. The day after the NFL released their schedule, we have gone through 4 games of the season, and that game would be the Monday night home game in Jacksonville, where they will play the Kansas City Chiefs for a number of reasons. Like I said, this is not about seeking external validation as much as it is just us around here just trying to take our palm and palm mush a lot of people that always talk a bunch of crap about Jacksonville. Like there's people talking about the London Jaguars when it's all over the news that the city and the team's building a $2 billion stadium here over the next few years. But people still want to have those dumb narratives. So the folks that do that, I ain't talking about them. I mean, you can show them everything and they won't believe you. They won't believe parachute. They won't believe a parachute works, even if you push them out of an airplane. Until they realize that last second, but by then it's too late. But that's just some people, that's just how they are. There's always just this negativity when it comes to Jacksonville. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like a victim, because we haven't given a whole bunch of people a whole bunch to be proud of, right? We haven't given people a whole bunch of reasons to believe that the Jaguars are anything better than what they pretty much say. But when things are going bad, folks can always point the finger at a whole bunch of people, even folks that don't have a whole lot to do with those things going bad. So this is Trevor Lawrence redemption to me. If Trevor Lawrence plays well on Monday night and outduels Patrick Mahomes, this will at least go a little bit, maybe for 2 days. It'll shut certain people down on national media about Trevor. But more importantly, and I know there are fans that believe, I don't care if the Jaguars are playing the bad news Bears, I'm there for them. It does not matter. I get all of that. I get I love my team. I don't care who they're playing. I'll watch them. Look, salute to you, man. I'm telling you. And you know you are. Salute to you. We've had that argument before. I'm not angry at you. I never was angry about anybody that felt that way. But what I'm telling you is I have a different perspective on it. Sometimes it's not about the fact that you can smack somebody. It's about who you smack. Remember, I think that was from Harlem Nights. It's about who it is. And sometimes when it's demonstrative enough, it can give you confidence, and it can give those people around you confidence. Trevor Lawrence outdueling Patrick Mahomes helps the rest of his young teammates, and it helps him. It makes them believe that they're never out of it when they get in any situation, that they know the more, you can't do it all the time until you do it one time. One time comes before all the time. If you do it once, and I know folks that, well, he did it, he beat C.J. Stroud. That ain't what I'm talking about. I ain't talking about no C.J. Stroud where he beat Justin Herbert. I ain't talking about him either. I'm talking about quarterbacks that have won something. He outdueled Lamar Jackson one time. Yeah, he did once. I mean more than that. Obviously, he's done that, and people still have these things that they say about him, right? Well, this will be on a national stage. This will be the whole world watching, and this will be a chance for Trevor Lawrence to show up and show out. So after 5 games, if the Jaguars are 4-1, I'm extremely happy. If they're 3-2, I'm good. If they're 2-3, I'm sitting there like, all right, now y'all got to tighten up. But there's still more season to be played, so let's go through some more of these games. After October 6th, the Monday night game, they turn around, of course, a short week, and they play at home against Seattle. Tough game, but should be able to beat Sam Darnold, right? The LA game is in London. That's a tough game, man, for a lot of reasons. 1, it's in London. 2, it's LA. And 3, it's, I don't know if I want to watch the teams play or sit there and watch James Gladstone and Les Snead just talk to each other and cliche each other to death. And I'm saying that jokingly, but that's a big game. And then they'll need that bye week coming home. After that, I ain't going to talk too much smack because that team is loaded. And the Jaguars, it might be a situation where it's kind of like the Bears and the Lions this year, where it's like a carbon copy of each other a little bit. After the bye week, they travel on the road. They go back out west to play the Las Vegas Raiders. That team's going to be a lot more prepared than they used to be because of their coach, Pete Carroll. So let's see, that's 8 games. We're a little bit halfway through the year. Now, game number 9 will be the game that I'm going to, and that's Houston. We'll talk about where y'all going in a little bit. My daughters live in Houston. I got 2 daughters that live in Houston, so my wife and I decided it'd be a good excuse for us to go up, a reason for us to go up and hang out with them. I'll probably go up there for a few days, maybe Thursday, and stay up there until the game is Sunday night. So that's one of my travel plans. The week later, they come home and they play the Chargers at home, another tough game. And then they go back on the road and go back out west. They do a lot of traveling, man, out west. And they go to Glendale and play Arizona. Another game I like, but it's just 2 weeks after Houston. I don't know if I'll be able to do both. Then, in customary Jaguar Titans fare, they played the Titans 2 times in the last 6 weeks. They got the Titans in November on the road, home against the Colts. Normally, they play the Colts and Titans early in the year. They don't play either one of them until the last third of the season. Then they're home against the Jets, on the road against Denver. That's a game I thought a lot of people wanted to go to, but it's 4 days before Christmas. I don't know how many people want to be in Colorado for Christmas or near Christmas. Go on the road again to the Colts, and then they're home against the Titans. So if it's all about the division, the last six weeks for the Jaguars, they play 4 division games. So they're going to win or lose in the division. And then all of the last 6 games are also all conference games, all AFC games. So if they're in a playoff battle, that's where they want to really, really, really make some room up. Let's talk about where y'all traveling to go see your Jags play, and then tighten up a few things, and we'll get you ready for the weekend. We'll do it here in a second on Locked On Jaguars. All right, the schedule is out. We have gone through the games. I'll give you a little bit of a preliminary assessment of what I believe the Jacksonville Jaguars can do record-wise in here. And I'll tell you where I think they have a real good chance of landing. I'm only going to do 3 games. The difference between the low and the high in this is going to be 2. But it could mean they could win 3. So if I say the difference between 3 and 5 is only 2 games, but that means they could win 3, 4, or 5 games. I'm not saying they're going to do that. Of course, I think they're going to win more games than that. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars, there are legitimately 6 games or 7 games on this schedule where I don't expect them to be favored. And there's a couple others I don't know about. I don't expect them to be favored on the road against the Bengals, in either game against the Texans. I don't expect them to be favored against the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't expect them to be favored against the Rams. So that's 5, right? Let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5. They probably won't be favored against the Chargers if you do it before the season, obviously, like right now. But by then they may have, if they're on a roll, and they probably won't be favored against the Broncos. Like on the surface, if we think about how people feel about those teams right now, all the rest of those games, I think they're winnable. So that's 9-7, right? Or 10-7. So the number that I'm gonna come up with Jacksonville, and I know y'all gonna think I'm crazy. The number I'm coming up with is between 9 and 11. 9-8. 10-7, but most likely 11-6. So I'm parking right there. 10-6. I mean 10-7, 11-6 is what I think is a pretty safe prediction. Not knowing how healthy they're going to be, how quickly the staff is going to get acclimated to things. Yeah, so and don't trip, because there are a lot of teams that won a lot of games last year, like Washington. I think FanDuel has them at 9.5. I think the Chiefs are like right at 11, where I'm saying the Jaguars are going to be. So what I'm saying, man, is I think they're going to have a good year. I think they're going to have a good year. I do think they're going to at least split with Houston. So, and I don't think they're going to lose any other. I think they're going to beat Tennessee both times, and I think they're going to beat the Colts both times. I really do think the Jaguars are going to go 5-1 in that division. I think they'll go 5-1 in that division, and that leaves 11 other games, and they go 6-5. Yeah. That'll give you 11 wins, and I think that's where they're going to end up. All right, so I did a little unofficial poll. A lot of people are going to Cincinnati in week 2. A lot of folks going to Cincinnati in week 2. I heard many folks that they're going to plan to go to San Francisco, Palo Alto, wherever they play in September. The folks are just, Santa Clara. Folks are just saying, man, it's just so hard to get to where they're going. I think they play in Santa Clara. I ain't going out there. So those were the first two. And then, of course, Vegas in November. Houston, for me, I saw a few people talk about Houston. Saw a lot of people talk about going to Denver as well, man. But then they were just like, it's just 4 days before Christmas, so I don't know if I want to go there. But then others are saying, maybe we'll go to Arizona. And people talk about Arizona in November saying, okay, the weather's good. We live in Florida. You ain't escaping good weather going to Arizona. We might have better weather in November than Arizona does. I mean, so it ain't like you Green Bay or Minnesota and we got to go to Arizona because they play in November. No, you don't. For what? That's like somebody going to Scottsdale. You taking your golf clubs for what? The golf clubs in Jacksonville is just as nice as anywhere. Why would I take golf clubs to go out there? It's crazy, but those are the games that I think most people are going to be traveling to. I don't think people going to Tennessee this year. Maybe not to Indy. Of course, any of that could change if they're winning. And, of course, London. London's going to have a big contingent of people go. And plus, it's a competitive game. I think people travel more early in the year because you plan this stuff way out, right? It's not like you're escaping weather like a lot of people come down to Jacksonville in November and December from those cold weather places, regardless of what the record is. They made those plans a long time ago. But I don't think people make plans late in the season unless it's just somewhere they want to go, mainly because we're not accustomed to the Jaguars being involved in a whole bunch of stuff in the second half of the year. So I think why you still have hope, people go plan to go to these games while the story hasn't really been told yet. So that's why people want to get out and go early, because at least early in the year, there's still some hope that things will get better. Then they start getting to the point where they can't reach the playoffs and things start looking ugly and folks are starting to look around at each other, or you're missing key players on your team. It's just not real fun. So it's hard to plan for later on in the year. But just the thought that we are here is a miracle to me, because the day that they decided that they were going to fire everyone except Trent Balky, I was like, that's it. These people are done. They're not going to pay for this. But then I said, you know what? They will, because they'll figure out a way to sell it to a whole bunch of people who all they really want is for their team to be very, very good. They want to live through the hope and the optimism of the team actually being good one day. And all you got to do is just wait until training camp comes around, and the same people will come back, dragging back to the stadium saying, all right, I'll give you another chance. But Shah Khan pulled a miracle, man. A couple of weeks later, when he fired Trent Balky and decided to take this thing into a whole different direction, bring new people in here that got bold in the offseason, that attacked the weak areas of this team with abandon. They threw bodies at the offensive line, and then they went and got they went and got Travis Hunter. And the coach, Liam Cohen, comes in here. One of the first things he says is, we're going to run the football. They're going to see us come out of the huddle, and we're going to get the ball to Brian Thomas Jr. He really didn't say it like that, but that's kind of what he did say. And everything changed. The optimism has changed. For a long time, I'm being called a positive person about the Jaguars. For a long time, I used to get criticized by some people for being mean about the team, and folks can't believe what they're hearing now. And it's just because you got to give them, you got to give them a chance to see if it works. But you also can just talk about the effort, the things that they have done to say, you know what, you got to just keep trying, man. And what I thought they were doing before, I thought they were giving up, and I thought they were giving up, even though they were sticking with what they were doing. I thought they were giving up because they had failed so much that they were afraid. They were absolutely afraid to try again and to start completely over again. When you get rid of that fear, man, these are the things that can happen. They haven't played a game yet, but every Jaguar fan, I know there's some out there that's still kind of pessimistic, but the things that they're sitting there talking about are, well, Travis Hunter's going to get sick of Jacksonville. And you can't help people like that. No matter what you tell them, they're going to believe that because they've been burnt by other star players that wanted to get out of Jacksonville. And, well, really only one, and that's Jalen. Nobody else did that. Fred didn't want to go. Maurice didn't want to go. All the Jaguars have had players before that wanted to be here. Very rarely have they had guys that didn't want to be here. There's one guy, and everybody keeps thinking that this is going to happen, and I don't think it is. So yeah, man, I'm happy. I'm enthusiastic about the changes, and it's not just because I ain't got no choice or because I have to be. I'm really, really telling you, I think that there's some different things here, and because they did all of those things and the way that the schedule has come out. And they use my man Ashton Hall too. Shout out to the media team over with the Jaguars. He's from Jacksonville. Everybody don't know that. And I cut his hair when he only did it once. I cut his hair one time when he was his barber was out of town or something. And my man Mike Zanders, speaking of Jalen, Mike Zanders and Jalen are like best friends. Mike brought him to me when he was on his way to college playing running back. I think he went to Alcorn State, and so they used him yesterday's social media phenomenon. Good on Jacksonville for getting noticed for a lot of things. Lots of things going on. Minicamp continues soon. And if you need to know about all of the people on the rosters, there's no better place to look than Locked On NFL Scouting. Make sure you check out Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino at Locked On NFL Scouting, because you ain't going to get it no better than that. They'll tell you about every player on your roster and make you feel like the smartest fan in the world. So make sure you tap into that. One more day this week, man. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition of Locked On Jaguars. Until then, you guys take care of each other. We'll see you next time.